Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream. It is 7:35 p.m. It is the 14th of March, 2024, and today we will look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press. And there are a few stories around today, some fresh stories, some breaking news, especially when it comes to Catalonia and Mr. Puigdemont. We'll have a look at that in just a minute. We'll also have a look at some comments that have been left on videos in recent times too. And then in the second half of the video, as always, we'll go into the chat section and see what is happening there. So if you are in the chat section, say hello. Now, first piece of news, and as I said, Mr. Puigdemont back in the news because Congress has approved his amnesty, personal amnesty according to El Mundo, in a second attempt, and the pro-independence movement threatens we will not stop until self-determination. The amnesty bill drafted to meet Puigdemont's demands has passed at the second time of asking its bumpy passage through Congress. It has done so with the votes of the PSOE party, Sumar party, and its pro-independence and nationalist allies, thus providing a momentary lifeline to the government in a week in which everything has turned against it with the outbreak of the Coldo case, the early elections in Catalonia, and the focused renunciation of the state budget for the forced renunciation of the state budget for 2024. The result of the two necessary votes, the opinion of the law and the law as a whole, was 178 yeses to 172 noes. However, the measure of grace still has a long way to go, and it will not be easy. So there we go, Mr. Puigdemont getting his amnesty, basically an amnesty a la carte. Whatever Mr. Puigdemont wanted, he got in that amnesty. Mr. Sanchez bent over backwards to satisfy Mr. Puigdemont and company because he needs their support in Parliament. And basically, it's as simple as that. Sanchez will say it's to bring peace to Catalonia. Fact of the matter is that there hasn't been a lot of disturbances in Catalonia, I don't think, for a while now, so I don't know whether that's the reason or not, but Mr. Puigdemont able to come back. And funnily enough, for Mr. Puigdemont, it could be just in time, because yesterday, the leader of Catalonia, Mr. Aragonés, shook up the Spanish political chessboard with early elections. He called early elections in Catalonia. The Spanish political chessboard received a new jolt from Catalonia on Wednesday, and not because of something already volcanic, such as the amnesty law to be voted on Thursday in Congress. In a new unforeseen twist, the president of the Generalitat, Pere Aragonés, called early elections for the 12th of May after running out of a majority to push through the budget law. He did so on Wednesday in a show of authority and in an attempt to revive his party, Esquerra Republicana, the Republican left of Catalonia, anemic in the polls despite controlling the Generalitat alone and sharing with the rest of the nationalist and pro-independence parties the key to governing Spain. So there we go, Mr. Aragonés shaking up that political chessboard, as we can see here, and calling elections for the 12th of May. And the big question is, as I said before, will Mr. Puigdemont run in those elections, which I think he's able to do. So he could come back, put himself up as candidate for his political party, Junts, and try to get elected as Catalonian leader again, like he was back in the day, until he called that illegal referendum and has lived in Belgium ever since. So we'll see what happens. But as we saw in the first article, and excuse me for laughing a little bit here, we will not stop, says the pro-independence movement, until self-determination. So they've only got one thing on their mind, self-determination. So Mr. Sanchez is going to have to work this one out in coming months and years, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, next piece of news, more serious piece of news, because the European Union has warned that water shortages could lead to conflicts between member states in the EU. The European Commission on Tuesday presented its strategy for tackling the risks posed by climate change a day after the European Environment Agency warned in its report that European public policies are not moving fast enough. The consequences of climate change are to some extent unavoidable, but they can and must be better managed. Climate Action Commissioner Wopke Hoekstra acknowledged at a press conference. In its analysis, Brussels devotes a section to the lack of water, which affects, above all, the southern countries of the EU. According to the EU, this resource is already under pressure in many parts of Europe due to poor structural management, unsustainable land use, hydromorphological changes, and pollution. This may lead to increased competition for water resources between sectors and users, including the potential risk of conflicts within and between member states over transboundary water resources. So there we go, the European Union warning that water shortages, which we currently have in some parts of Spain, could lead to conflicts between member states. So fairly dire, the prediction there. Could lead to conflicts between member states. Now, not sure what type of conflicts, whether it is a diplomatic conflict or the other type of conflict, which of course nobody wants, but water is a huge issue and going to be more so in coming years, in coming decades in the south of Europe. And the European Union, as we saw there, forecasting some problems. And the final piece of news, and this is somebody who doesn't mind investing in Spain, Leonardo DiCaprio, because he has expanded his investment in Spain to the solar sector. The Spanish sun not only attracts tourists but also investment, and among the capital committed to the development of a photovoltaic energy in the country, a well-known name has just been included, that of the actor Leonardo DiCaprio, for whom business in Spain is nothing new. Given that he has already chosen Spain for his company Diamond Foundry, one of the largest producers of laboratory-grown diamonds, to set up its first production plant in Europe in Trujillo, Extremadura. His new bet, personally, is the investment in the Catalan company Solarmente, as explained to El Economista.es by one of its co-founders and CEO of the firm, Vota Dreiger, an engineer from the Netherlands who came to Barcelona to study at university and was surprised by the lack of solar panels he saw on the roofs from the plane, which awakened his business idea to promote the implementation of photovoltaic energy. So he's managed to get Leonardo DiCaprio on board to put some of those movie dollars into the solar sector here in Spain. And interesting that this guy was studying in Barcelona, flying over Barcelona, looked down, didn't see any solar panels on the roofs and thought, that doesn't make sense. Spain is the sunniest country in Europe and nobody has solar panels on their roof. Yeah, good question. That's what a lot of people in this country have been asking for many, many years. But given there was a tax on the sun for some 3 or 4 years back in the day, there was no incentives to put solar panels on people's roofs. And that's the reason. But now it's changed and people like Mr. DiCaprio putting their dollars into the sector. And already, as we saw there, an investor in Spain in, what was it? Some type of diamond, laboratory-grown diamonds. So there we go. Not getting them out of the ground anymore. They're being grown in laboratories in Extremadura. Trujillo, to be exact. Comments. First one here from Steve. I've just returned from a short holiday to the Canaries, and on the topic of gas oil and gasoline, I noticed that fuel prices at premium service stations in Tenerife were around 0.35 cents or 35 cents per litre cheaper than peninsular prices. Is fuel subsidised by the local government with taxpayers' money? I wonder. Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'm not an expert on this, but of course I went to the Canaries last year, and the first thing I noticed when I went to fill up the hire car was the difference in price that you pay in mainland Spain for a litre of unleaded fuel, I think it was, in the car that I had, compared to the Canary Islands. And around whatever Steve says there, 25, 30 cents, sometimes more, depending on the service station. But again, I'm not an expert on this, but I think the secret to the cheaper fuel prices in the Canaries in general and other things is that they have a reduced VAT or perhaps no VAT at all on certain products. Why does this exist? Well, I think it's an incentive to get people to live there by offering cheaper taxes. Of course, you're living on an island, but it is true that for many things in the Canary Islands, you pay less than you pay on mainland Spain. And again, I think it's because of to try to get people to live there. The same thing happens also in Melilla in the north of Africa, and in Ceuta in the north of Africa. There are differences when it comes to prices on things like fuel. It's cheaper, and civil servants that get sent to Melilla and Ceuta also get paid extra to go and live there as an incentive, because let's be honest, if you're not from there, why would you want to go there? The Canary Islands is different, but back in the day, the Canary Islands were a place where people left, but now it's become popular and people are flocking to the Canaries. But as I said, there needed to be some type of incentive, I believe, to get people to live there. I think that's the reason. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. One here from the Encounter Spirit. Mercadona is less expensive than Lidl or Aldi, and the products are fresher, and you have more of a selection, except for wine. Wine is better at Aldi. Yes, Mercadona lacks in alcohol choice in general. If you compare it to other supermarkets, for a lot of people it's not a priority or anything important. You know, they go to Mercadona, they just pick whatever wine they've got, and away they go. Don't care. But for people that like to experiment with different wines, Mercadona is not the supermarket. Absolutely not. And when it comes to fresh produce, what I will say is that Mercadona has improved in recent times, maybe 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. The quality of the fish has got better. They still don't have a butcher service with the Mercadonas that I go to. It's all packaged meat. And they also have, I would say when it comes to fruit and veg, not the best selection that I've seen. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is. They probably don't think that those things are important. And again, I said yesterday, I don't understand how Mercadona gets the market share that it gets. I just don't understand it, given the choice of supermarkets in this country. But people, as we saw here from the Encounter Spirit, they like Mercadona, except when it comes to buying wine. Another one here from Gus. I lived in Madrid between 2002 and 2010 with a $1,200 a month salary. Spanish farmers can't say that labor is cheaper in Morocco when they have been exploiting the Moroccan and African people in their farms for the last 30 years, paying them corrupt wages and making them live under plastic tents. Yeah, that is obviously Almeria, which is what Gus is referring to here. And I'll just get to the salary part here first. Probably back in 2002, $1,200 a month wasn't a bad salary in 2002. But move on, 22 years later, 2024, you don't want to be making 1,200 euros a month in a city like Madrid or Barcelona. And that's what we saw some of the salaries on offer in the bar and restaurant trade here. So again, somebody asked the question the other day, how do you live on that? Difficult nowadays. In 2002, probably not. But in 2024, it's an issue. So salaries need to increase there. When it comes to the exploitation of immigrants in the farming sector, absolutely. In places like Almeria, I went to Almeria a couple of years ago, and basically you drive through shanty towns in the plastic sea, getting to your luxurious destination on the coast. It's quite a thing to see. You see these fantastic coastal resorts in Almeria, and then you see this plastic sea where people are living like dogs. Not everyone, but some people are. In very bad conditions. So I would have to agree with Gus there that people have been exploiting cheap labour for many, many years in that sector in order to get our cheap fruit and veg. JMW, valued member, people should not be obliged to tip to make up the shortfall in wages. Tips are for good service, and I have to say that even with good service, the Spanish don't tip well. Even for as long as I have been here, I cannot do that as feel like a miser. So if the service is good, you will get tipped accordingly. Yeah, I think I understand that comment there. The first part here, tipping. We saw the other day, I've said on numerous occasions on this channel that tipping is not a thing. Some people tip, of course, but it's not the norm. Some people round up. Maybe if you buy a coffee for $1.80, you round up to €2, give a 20-cent tip. But if you sit down for a €100 meal, I don't even think people are leaving a lot of the times, unless it's one of those group things where everyone chips in maybe €1, 10 people, €10. Maybe you get a 10% tip. But a lot of the times I don't see notes left, maybe coins, but notes rarely do I see. And I'm having coffee 2 or 3 times a week in bars and restaurants. Sometimes I'm going for lunch. And as I said, people round up, 13.50, 14, keep the change. But not in general anything bigger than that. That's just my experience. So, it shouldn't be, as the JMW points out here, shouldn't be there to make up a shortfall in wages. Pay people better, basically. If there's no tipping culture, pay people better. 123, Sean Away, also a valued member. The USA has the safest roads in the world. However, the main reason an American license can't be swapped for an EU one is that most Americans learn in automatic cars, so have no idea how gear sticks work, let alone use them when driving. Imagine the chaos. Yeah, 123, thanks for the comment there. I would disagree with that's the main reason. The main reason is because the states, like Australia, has a license system where it depends on each individual state. So, for example, if you're from Australia, you have, and like me, you come originally from Western Australia, you have a Western Australian license. If you come from Victoria, you have a Victorian license. If you have a New South Wales license, if you're from New South Wales, that's where your license is from. Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, etc. The states is exactly the same. If you're from Florida, you've got a license from there. Texas, California, there's no one license for the states. Whereas in the UK, there's one license. Doesn't matter if you live in the north of Scotland or the south of England, your license is done at the same place. That is the biggest problem because the Spanish government can't come to an agreement with 6 Australian states for a license. There's no central organisation managing it. Same with the United States. That's the biggest issue. So when it comes to negotiating, sitting down, getting the rules all sorted out, when it comes to the United Kingdom, you only sit down with one guy or one person. Get it all sorted out. Easy. Rather than having somebody from Western Australia come, somebody from New South Wales come, somebody from Texas come, somebody from Florida come, whatever. More difficult. And the other fact is that people drive automatic cars more so in the States than they do here. Automatics are now becoming more popular. But for years, you could hardly find an automatic car in Spain. Unless it was an import, the majority of cars here were 5 on the floor or 4 on the floor or 6 on the floor or however many gears you had. But it was manual gears. Another one here from Karen. I always leave a 10% tip. If I notice a restaurant hasn't raised their price since pre-COVID and is still charging €10 for a large menu de lia, I might leave 20%. Well, good luck finding a restaurant that hasn't raised their price since COVID, Karen. If you can find one, let me know, and I'll go there and take a photo because it would be as rare as hen's teeth because everyone here has raised prices since COVID. What cost you $11.50 before now costs you €13.50, €14 at restaurants here where I am, and I imagine that's fairly similar around the country. But as I said, Karen, if you're able to find a restaurant that hasn't put up its prices since COVID, you're onto a winner there. Stick to it because it is a rarity. And the final one here from Keith. How much was the haircut, Stu? And did you leave a tip? Well, the answer, Keith, is that my haircut was a $12.99 special, and I rounded up to 13, so I was quite generous with my tip. 1 cent. Rounding up. $12.99, €13. Just joking, before people start going crazy in the comment section, I gave it €1 tip. I remember that I was going to the hairdresser, took €1 out of my little change jar here, put it in my pocket, and when the gentleman had finished cutting my hair, which took around 20 minutes, he put in some detail, he got a €1 tip, which I think was fair for the price. $12.99, €1 tip. Doesn't quite get to the 10% mark, but I'm happy with the tip, and he was as well. Now, time to change the backdrop picture. This one was sent in from Neil, who was recently in this part of Spain, the province of Toledo, I think. Consuegra is the place. Maybe it's Ciudad Real, I don't know, but it's in the Castilla-La Mancha area, hence the windmills that we see here. And you can find these windmills at a few places in Castilla-La Mancha. Consuegra is one of those. A place that I went to a couple of weeks ago had also windmills like this one here, the typical Don Quixote windmill. But you don't see them everywhere you go. So when you do come to a place like Consuegra, you take a photo of the windmills, of course, which is what Neil did. Now, if you've got a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is this one here, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send it through to that address, as Neil did, and other people that have sent through photos in recent times. I've had quite a lot of people send me through their photos, some of them in the incorrect format, so they won't be coming on the back screen. Unfortunately, they were good pictures, but too narrow. They've got to be landscape. So keep that in mind if you do send a photo, as Neil has done here with this one, which, as we can see, fits perfectly onto the backdrop. So thanks, Neil, for that. People that have supported the channel in recent times, whether it's through the Super Thanks option, buying me a coffee, Patreon, longer-term supporters, or the membership option on YouTube, which I started last month, maybe the month before, currently at 39 members. If you join, $1.99 a month, you could be member number 40. Early access to videos, some exclusive content coming up. So consider it if you want to support the channel. And the like icon, which is currently sitting at 65. We've got 198 people watching, so hit the like button and we might get over the 60. Well, we're already at 66, so we might get over the 70, 80, 90 mark today. 200 people now watching, so we might get over the 100 mark today if everyone hits the like button. Now, into the comment section I'm going to go. I can see a super chat here from Marcus, who regularly supports the channel. Thank you very much, Marcus. €5. Here in Spain, we have Audi Nord, unfortunately, as opposed to Aldi Sud. In the UK and Italy, for example, they have Audi Sud. There we go. There is a big difference between the two. Yeah, I've never worked this out. I understand that the one Audi belongs to one brother and the other Audi belongs to another brother, and they've decided to separate, even though they have the same name, but there is a difference. I've never been to the other one, to be honest, so I don't know the difference, Marcus, but thanks for telling us that. I'm not sure in Australia which one we have. I remember recently when I was there seeing an Audi. I didn't go in. I stuck to Coles and Woolies, the two traditional supermarkets there. But I did see an Audi at my local shopping centre. But I didn't know. I don't know whether it was the Nord or Sud. Maybe somebody can enlighten me. Now I'll scroll up to the top. Heidi's the first person I can see. Long time no see. Hope you're well. G'day, Heidi. Yeah, long time no see. Jonathan coming in from Montevideo down there in South America. Miguel coming in at 1934. I imagine that's the time that Miguel time-stamped his comment there. Sunny coming in from Basingstoke, another wet day there. Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything else from Basingstoke, Sunny. I'd be surprised if you said it was sunny, but it seems to be more wet than sunny in that part of England. High Flyer John, valued member, coming in, hoping the week is well. Thanks, John. Renan coming in from LA, regular viewer also. Another regular viewer is Richard, also a valued member. Mildish day there in North Yorkshire, on the news yesterday. Wettest 5 months since 1872. There we go, breaking records. 1872, the wettest month since in North Yorkshire. There we go. It's a wonder the UK is still afloat, to be honest. I'll probably sink one day. Mary coming in from Peníscola. Got the Enya there, but you've forgotten the accent on the I, Mary, but won't hold that against you. Peníscola. Miguel, wettest 5 months. John Kerry might not agree. Don't know what that's about. Joan, hi from Vashon Island near Seattle. Looking forward to being in Madrid in July, seeing my hijo, nuera, and nieto. Joan's got family in Madrid. Hope all goes well. When is that, Joan? July. Bet you're looking forward to that, absolutely. Amanda is in the chat. Haven't seen Amanda for a while, saying hello. Ellie coming in from Pasadena, California. Pamela's also in the chat. Dirk is in the chat as well from Villajoyosa, which has been in the news a lot in recent times. Firstly, because of an assassination, and secondly, because of a building fire. So Villajoyosa, you wouldn't think it would make the news that often, but it has. Barbara coming in from the Playa Flamenca, 23 degrees there. Warmer tomorrow. Oh, isn't that starting to warm up down there? What else we got going on? Mugga, also in the chat, coming in from El Campello. Don't forget, Mugga, see a white car? Give us a wave. Dirk, come on, Spain. Let us go against Germany to steal water. I don't think the conflict's going to be between Spain and Germany. I think they're thinking more maybe Portugal and Spain, maybe because of the rivers that run dry by the time they get to Portugal. That's where the issues could be. The rivers start in Spain with the water, but by the time they get to Portugal, there ain't no water in them sometimes. That's an issue. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Does anyone remember the old movie Soylent Green? Yeah, people have mentioned that movie on the channel quite a few times, Mary. It was one of those movies that made people think back in the day, I believe. Jonathan saying, I would imagine some of the conflicts, although not in southern Europe, could be around water rights on the Danube and the Rhine rivers. There we go. I think the European Union only pointed out Spain. Southern Europe, i.e. Spain, Portugal, Italy. Don't think they mentioned those countries, but you could be right. St. Pete, Dave, hola, Stu, y todos. I see your weather is turning much warmer. One of my favourite places in Madrid, and spring comes early. Say hi to John. I will say hi to John next time I see him. I'll make a run to see old John. Madrid in spring is not a bad city if you don't have hay fever, of course. I read earlier in the paper, Dave, that this winter's been 2 degrees warmer than other winters, so you missed out. But I'm sure you're not suffering there in sunny Tampa. Gigi coming in from a sunny Surprise, always sunny there as well. The weather here is too nice to talk about, says Dave. Absolutely. Absolutely. There we go, Ellie saying the Charlton Heston, Edward G. Robinson. Yes, a great movie. Soylent Green. How was it spelt before? Soylent. Okay, yes, I'm missing the Y before, but I think that's the movie, yeah. I haven't seen it personally, but I believe it is available to... you can easily find it, I think, or at least bits of it. Rory coming in from Mallorca. Spring weather there. What else? Is fuel more expensive in Mallorca? I don't think Mallorca get the discounts that they get, the Balearics, I don't think get the discounts that they get in the Canaries. I could be wrong, but I don't think that is the case. Do they have Whole Foods in Spain? No, they do not have Whole Foods in Spain, or at least I've never seen one. Dirk says, we got the supermarket family cash and it's the cheapest here, and a lot of wine. There we go. It's important to have a good variety when it comes to wine. NVN, valued member as well. Nobody is forcing nobody to stay if they don't like. Absolutely. Mercadona are going big time on remade meals. Stay clear. Yeah, remade, or I don't think they call them remade meals, Burton, but they call them ready-made meals. Ready-made meals, I think they're called, and I've tried it. Yeah, it's okay. If you're in a hurry for lunch, you don't want to spend the restaurant prices, you can go and get yourself a nice piece of chicken and potatoes. Not chips, they do a different type of potato. The other day I bought some pasta, which was prepared for my son. He liked it. So, yeah, I don't think you need to stay clear. It's not bad food. What else we got going on here? David saying that the local Mercadona has meat and cheese counter. Yes, we are spoilt. Wine selection, not too bad. So maybe that Mercadona's got a different wine selection. Don't know. Alex coming in from Ballarat, down there in Victoria. Otoño aquí. There we go. Autumn there already, because the 1st of March, the seasons change in Australia. Whereas here we don't change until the 21st, is it? I think. Snarly Kitty says, thanks for your Albacete video. We escaped to Albacete to get away from the Valencia Fallas. Absolutely, why not? If you don't like the noise of Valencia, get away. Plenty of places in Albacete that, not only the city of Albacete, but there's plenty of other places that are worth a visit there as well. What else? Let's have a look. Maria's saying, hola. Hola, Maria. ¿Qué tal? ¿Todo bien? What else we got going on here? Consuegra is north of Ciudad Real, Urda, the village of St. Christ the Visitors, and east of Consuegra. Is it in the province of Ciudad Real or is it in the province of Toledo? I don't know. That's what I was asking before. David saying that Audi Nord and Audi Sud have slightly different logos, heading to Valencia on Saturday morning for the Spring Festival. Apparently, says Alex, it's Audi Sud in Australia. Overall cheaper than other supermarkets, though more limited options. There we go, limited options. The other one also, the Audi here is also limited options. They don't have a great variety. Casa del Sol Boutique Bed and Breakfast. Hi from Ben Almadina. What do you think of the huge Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Resort maybe going up in Tarragona? Yeah, I read about this. They were talking about the similarities between the Madrid project that they were going to have something similar. They were going to call it Euro Vegas, if you believe that. Euro Vegas. And they were going to have it here, not far from where I live, in the middle of nowhere, in a place called, I can't think of the name of the place, but it's not far from where I am here. And they were going to say that it was going to be this huge Las Vegas-style casino resort and all of these things, and I think this is something similar apparently in Tarragona. So yeah, if it gets off the ground, fantastic. But the one in Madrid, the Euro Vegas, didn't get off the ground. Even though lots of politicians wanted it to get off the ground, but it didn't. What's the name of the town where they were going to? I just can't remember. But like I said, it's not far from Arganda. Thumbado, hello Stu. Good photo. You are missing Don Quixote in the background. Thanks for the news. Good haircut. Was it Pakistan or Chinese? I think Pakistan are the best hairdressers. No, these hairdressers where I go, they're from Colombia or Peru or South America. I think he was from, definitely. Not sure exactly where, but I would say Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, probably. What else? Toasties, peeing with rain. Sorry, I thought you were peeing with rain there on the Isle of Wight. 57U, hi Stu, have been in Frigiliana for 1 month now, got the digital nomad visa. Well, enjoy it down there. It's a fantastic little white village down there in Malaga. Coast is not too far away. Frigiliana. Haven't been there for a while, but I like it. Juanjo saying, what's all this about? What's all this about, says Juanjo. Don't know, Juanjo, what all this is about. It's a mystery to me too. Dirk coming in. We saw Dirk before. Those two things in Villajoyosa were all in the part where he lives, in the Cala, 600 meters from the fire and the killing of the Russian pilot next door. There we go. So Dirk with the news right on his doorstep. And Sean saying that he'd check that movie out. Soylent Green. There we go. Canary Islands are tax-free, says Maria. I thought that was the case. I wasn't sure whether there was a tax reduction or whether they were indeed tax-free. But thanks for straightening me out. Thanks for that. Now, that's the end of the live stream. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for participating in the chat. Thanks to Marcus for the super chat. Greatly appreciated, as always. I'll put it towards my weekly bottle of Vino Tinto. So thanks for that, Marcus. I'll be back again next week, I think. Sunday, not sure if I can get a live stream up and running. It depends. I'll be on the road. So I don't know whether I can get a live stream up and running. But if I do, if I can, I will. But I can't promise it. But otherwise, next Tuesday will be the next one guaranteed. But there'll be plenty more content coming out until then. So have a great day. Hasta luego. Hasta entonces. Adios. Bye-bye.